Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities webinar, the Access Disability on Policy web series. Today, we have with us a presentation in regards to FEMA and their changes. So hopefully we'll learn a lot more about how FEMA can become more accessible for everyone. Just to tell you a little bit more about the Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities, we have a mission to further the opportunity for people with disabilities to enjoy a full and free access of life and independence and to self-determination. We recommend change within policy and programs in 10 different areas like communication, criminal justice, education, emergency preparedness, employment, health, housing, transportation, and veteran services. The committee also houses a network of individuals, and we award and to promote for the state and federal law with disabilities. Now, information about this web series. So we have a Q&A, so if you have any questions, you can put that in the chat box. There's a link to click on. If you would like the recording or a transcript, that will be posted later on these links as well. We also have the website here. If you would like to provide your feedback and get an immediate email, or have some information about you, provide your thoughts or any concerns you have, you can definitely provide that through this as well. So we are ready to turn it over.
Hello, my name is Julie Reese and I am with FEMA. I'm the Disability Integration Advisor for Texas, and I'm really happy to be here to help explain a little bit more about FEMA and the accessibility and changes that have been added to our program. I have invited SBA and Civil Rights to join us. Their names are Elizabeth Vargas with SBA, and we have Yasmin Austria with Civil Rights. They're both going to be here and explain a little bit more about their programs a little bit later in the PowerPoint. Next slide. Shelters, of course, we have available and ready in place. There's information here. Let's go to the next slide. With FEMA, we do have core values we operate by and we cherish: compassion, fairness, integrity, respect. It's actually the heart of FEMA and what the agency and employees stand for and represent. These values are really the foundation of who FEMA is, what we believe, and how we approach serving the nation. These core values apply to FEMA's stakeholders every single day and while we're working with our survivors. Next slide. I'll show you a short video of how disasters are being declared. Feel free to watch the video, and it may help you understand a little bit more about the FEMA process. We'll go ahead and play the video. Next slide, please. There we go. That's great. These are just some really brief points. Right now, since the governor has already requested the disaster for Texas after the storm hit recently in May, the president has already done the approval for that. And we're explaining now, because of that, we do have multiple disaster recovery centers established all over the state. And those are places where people can go and apply for the assistance they need. They can learn more about what's available to them. SBA is also on site. They'll talk about that later. And they can learn more about what type of programs and assistance that's available for them. Learn a little bit more about the appeals process there as well, or ask any questions regarding their claims. SBA again will be explaining that part later. Do remember that we also have the Texas Workforce Commission that's available here for people that may have been impacted during the disaster and that have lost some of their wages, or they need some help getting tools. The deadline for the disaster unemployment assistance is August 15th, 2024. If you do have any durable medical equipment or DME, any assistive technology, or any other assistive aids that you've lost or that were destroyed during the storm, we do have people here that can assist you, especially with the Texas Governor's Committee on People with Disabilities. They're here to assist in that, and they're available to help you get started in that process. Next, we also have the United States Department of Agriculture. That's the State Farm or Service Agency that helps you with low interest loans to help producers, ranchers, farmers that may have been impacted during the disaster. They are here to help you replace any equipment that may have been lost. The deadline to apply for that is February 10th, 2025. Next one. But do register for FEMA assistance now, August 15th of 2024. This is a map that shows individual assistance. That's really most of what you have applied for in assistance. These are the counties that have already been declared and approved for individual assistance. And that's also where the DRCs are located. There is another type of assistance that's available to you, public assistance. Those are shaded in different colors. I didn't want to overwhelm you with too much with verbiage here, but it is in the map. The deadline again for that is, it has been extended. It's actually now August 15th, 2024. So make a note of that change.
So just to clarify, this is not in regards to the most recent incident that happened in Houston as a declaration of a disaster.
Actually, that process is actually separate. This is for the storm that hit in May. But right now, it's pending right now. It will be a separate disaster, but the process is actually still the same.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll show you a short video, and I know this video is spoken in Spanish, but the slides do have the English captioning, so we'll take a minute to watch that, and it lets you know what to expect when you walk into a disaster recovery center or the DRC.
Hay varias formas de solicitar asistencia por desastre de FEMA, llamando al 1-800-621-3362, visitando a disasterassistance.gov o también acudiendo a un centro de recuperación por desastre, que es donde nos encontramos hoy. ¿Qué puedes esperar? Te mostramos. En los centros, las personas encontrarán representantes de FEMA, de la Agencia Federal de Pequeños Negocios, SBA, y de organizaciones sin fines de lucro que podrán brindar información y contestar sus preguntas sobre la asistencia por desastre. Además, hay personal de FEMA que habla su idioma y que puede ayudarle a llenar su solicitud de asistencia federal.
Yo estoy muy contento porque los atendieron en español y los atendieron muy bien.
Para encontrar el centro más cercano, envíe un mensaje de texto con las letras D, R, C y su código postal. Y recuerde que antes de visitar a un centro de recuperación por desastre, puede llamar al 1-800-621-3362, acceder a disasterassistance.gov/ES o descargar la aplicación de FEMA.
Next slide, please.
Hay varias formas.
Yeah, that's a survivor's road to recovery. In this diagram, the first thing you expect to do is to go ahead and file your insurance claim. And please file those as soon as possible, whether it's flood insurance, homeowner's insurance, rental, car insurance, go ahead and apply for that. And keep a copy of any letters you receive, whether it's an acceptance or a denial, whatever the decision comes in at. Secondly, go ahead and apply for FEMA assistance. And this will help you become eligible for possible funds that can help you with temporary housing, any repairs that need to be done. We also, if you have any medical needs, there are other programs that can assist and coordinate resources for you to help you with that. The next step. Yeah, remember the different ways to apply for FEMA. You saw that recently. You can do that by mail, fax, through the FEMA app. Number 3. FEMA will be sending an inspector to look at the damage. But do remember that not all of FEMA assistance requires inspectors. If an inspector is needed, they will contact you by phone, text, email, whatever your preferred mode of communication was when you did your application and registered for FEMA assistance. They'll schedule that appointment for you and use that mode of communication. You may also request an interpreter for that appointment. FEMA will contact you if they need any information, any records from you. And then the next step would be that they would contact you for your eligibility determination, and they'll provide you with direct deposit, a check for eligible funds with instructions on how to file for appeal. If you disagree with the FEMA decision or disagree with the amount of funds that you received, the appeal process will be explained a little bit more in our presentation. You may either, at that time, go back to your repaired home or find new housing solutions, and we'll help guide you through that process. When it gets there, we'll be here to help you through the whole process. I'm going to hold on to the SBA part. Let's go to the next one. All right, now really part of the reason why we're here today is so that we can explain a little bit more about FEMA's updates and to our individual assistance program and what we've implemented with FEMA. This became effective March 22nd, 2024. Some examples of this is one is a serious needs assistance. Under this type of assistance, you can now receive funds to help pay for critical items like food, water, baby formula, medications for other emergency supplies. Another type is displacement assistance. Under this type, you can receive funds to help you with any immediate housing, or if you cannot go back to your damaged property. The funds can also be used to stay in a hotel, stay with family and friends, or other options if you're still looking for a temporary place to stay or a rental unit. These are some new changes that have been made. The next one would be more updates to our expanded criteria for home repair assistance. Our help for has become a lot more simplified. For example, FEMA does not require survivors to apply for SBA loans prior to being considered for other types of assistance. Survivors can actually now have an option to apply for low interest rate loans through SBA, and of course, they'll just explain that a little bit more later. The next update is helping people that are underinsured so that they're able to receive the insurance payouts that may not cover the cost to the damage to your home or to your property. You might be eligible to receive additional funds from FEMA. But you do keep in mind that FEMA does not replace your home rental or flood insurance. It doesn't cover all of the disaster related losses. The next change is expanded criteria for home repair assistance. For example, you may now actually receive funds to help repair the parts of your home that were damaged by the disaster. And it doesn't matter if it was pre-existing conditions, you can now make the repairs or prevent similar disaster issues that should a disaster occur in the future for future losses. Next one is actually a great change, the accessibility improvements. You can now get money for accessibility repairs. For example, if you have an exterior ramp or a pathway so that you can enter your home if you have a disability, they can actually add that even if they were not there prior to the disaster, but they're still necessary for you to get back into your home. The next one is simplified help for self-employment eligibility. If you are self-employed, FEMA can help offer funds to help you repair, replace any damaged tools that you might need for your job. The last one is expanded assistance for computing devices. You can now receive funds for personal or family computers that were damaged by the disaster. You can request assistance in getting computers that you need for school, for work, or other access and functional needs. Next one. Next one is that the application process is now a lot more simplified, a lot more streamlined. For example, we have the streamlined temporary housing assistance application. It's a lot less documentation than it was in the past. They've cut down on that. We now have caseworkers that can help you navigate through that process. Another change is now the removal of any barriers for late applicants. Sometimes things happen. We understand that prevent us from being able to apply in a timely manner or apply on time. Now that's not a concern. They no longer are making that requirement that you have to provide that documentation explaining why your application was turned in late. The last change is that the process for the appeals have been made a lot more simple. For example, if you have a disagreement with a FEMA decision and you're wanting to make an appeal, you no longer need to provide a signed written appeal letter with the supporting documentation. It's a lot easier process now. It helps to reduce any of those barriers that people were facing in getting what they need. Next slide. And again, for ways that you can apply for FEMA help online, you can use the FEMA app, you can go in person, or you can call 800-621-3362 or look at the FEMA app online. Look for the closest disaster recovery center that's there. Go in person and ask questions. We're here in any of those ways to help assist you. Next one. This next video will be presented in ASL.
If you experienced damages and losses in the recent disaster, please register for disaster assistance to help with your recovery. You can register in 3 ways. You can call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362, download the FEMA app, or go online at disasterassistance.gov. Those who use relay services, such as video relay service, captioned relay, or other, should provide FEMA with the specific number assigned to that service. We are FEMA, and we're here to help.
Sorry, your interpreter is muted.
I apologize. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's back up a little bit here. Let me start over again. I apologize. Now, for the appeals process, this is something that you may need to prove for ownership of your property that was damaged or impacted by the disaster. One of the examples is maybe a mortgage statement, maybe property tax receipts, a will or a death certificate that names you as the heir to the property, receipts or repairs that have been made within the last 5 years previous to the disasters, or any court documentation. There are other ways that you can prove home ownership that are also listed on this slide to prove that you own the property that was impacted. You also need to prove that you live in it. It's proof of occupancy. For example, maybe a lease or a house agreement, a rental receipt, a possible utility bill, electric or water, or a sewer bill, your driver's license or a state identification, possibly a voter registration card, or maybe a medical bill that you can prove your address. Just some of those common things to be able to prove ownership. And there's also more on this list here on this slide that can help you with your appeal process. And also, if you rent a property, you still have the ability to apply for assistance as well. Right now, I'm going to turn this over to Elizabeth Vargas with Small Business Administration.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Vargas. I'm with the U.S. Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. And I'm going to explain the SBA program for disasters. Next. When a disaster declaration is signed by the president, federal funding opens up for survivors, and SBA's program is in the form of low interest loans. And let me just SBA assistance, as I said, is in the form of low interest loans. These loans are the primary source of federal assistance to help private property owners pay for losses not covered by insurance or other recoveries. you may apply to an SBA loan at the same time that you register with FEMA. This is one of the changes that that happened recently. And I want to make clear that these loans right now are available for the disaster that happened from April 26th to June 5th. So this event was closed already. So whatever happened after those days, recently, yesterday and the day before, we had a hurricane and storms, and that will be another event. Next. So SBA offers low interest loans to businesses of all sizes, nonprofit organizations, homeowners, and renters. This is very important, homeowners and renters. Because of the name SBA, Small Business Administration, people don't know that we do offer low interest loans in the case of a disaster to homeowners and renters. The businesses and nonprofit organizations may get up to $2 million to repair or replace their structure, replace their inventory, equipment, anything that the business lost or was damaged because of the disaster. For small businesses and private nonprofit organizations also, we have working
Seem to have lost the audio. I can't hear you.
Go on to civil rights, and then maybe if Elizabeth is able to rejoin, then she can finish her part. Thank you.
Sorry, y'all, couldn't find the audio button. All right, so my name is Yasmin Austria. I'm the Civil Rights Advisor lead here for supporting actually this current disaster for 4781. To just give a little bit of a background, the Office of Civil Rights has many kind of facets that we really focus on. We have internal to FEMA, whereas then we support our FEMA staff, but we not only do that, but we also have our external Civil Rights Division, which focuses on those who have been impacted by the disaster and the disaster communities. A lot of the things that we really focus on is not only, you know, what we're looking at in civil rights, you know, the discrimination and compliance in terms of any of the protected classes like sex, gender, race, religion, disability, et cetera, et cetera. But we're also looking at ways that we can help the community just improve access. And one of the things that we always talk about is, in terms of access, is are individuals able to go into our facilities? Are people able to obtain the information in the language that they need? And is there any barrier that's preventing people from navigating through our FEMA services? And what can we do to eliminate those barriers? And so next slide, please. So one of the things that we provide to the general public is our civil rights flyers. And as you can see, these are things that you might see, whether it's at our disaster recovery centers. We may give them out while we do community outreach. But the reason why we want to provide these flyers, in one part is if there's a possibility that you feel that while you're navigating through the FEMA process, that you've been discriminated against based on any of these protected classes, there is a way for you to directly kind of express that to FEMA, and we will do a investigation into your specific claim. We do have flyers that are in multiple languages. I'm showing English and Spanish right now for you all. And there's ways to contact through our language line. I'm sorry, our civil rights resource line, I apologize. You can also call or send an email. When we talk about the flyers and you know, providing an avenue for you to be able to share some your experiences, your frustrations, and possible discrimination, This is also another way for you to reach out to FEMA if there is a need for accessibility in terms of you are needing an interpreter, whether it be spoken language or American Sign Language, whether you need to request products that are large print or in Braille, whether you need something to help accommodate you for your home inspection before a site inspector comes to your home, or whether you need something before you go into a disaster recovery center to speak to one of our customer app service specialists. Whatever that you need to help you kind of navigate through that process, we really highly encourage for you all to reach out to us so that we can make sure that whatever is necessary for you to navigate this FEMA process, and it is complicated. We understand that, that we are able to provide you with whatever solution or accommodation that's needed. Next slide. So specific facts, I should say, about the resource line is it is currently only provided in English and Spanish. It is operated by civil rights staff, and here are the hours that they are staffed. And there is a voicemail box that can be left if you do call, but you can also send an email for those of you who prefer to not have to call in or need to provide your concerns in a language outside of English and Spanish. We will take that in an email as well. And next slide is going to be just the information specifically about our civil rights resource line. My name is Yasmin Austria. Like I said, I really would love for you, not only if you have specific questions, concerns, bring that to me. I'm more than happy to put my contact information to you all as well. And even for you just to learn more about what we can do to support you in your communities. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to add that for people who have visual impairments, there is a phone number. It's 833-285-7448 if you need to have that phone number. And then you can also email the Office of Civil Rights. It's FEMA-Civil Rights Office at fema.dhs.gov.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. And if anybody needs this information, I can also email it to anybody specifically if they request it as well.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Yasmin and Elizabeth. Thank you, everyone. Okay, next slide, please.
Did you want to go back to Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm sorry. Something happened with my internet and all of a sudden everything went off.
Oh, yes. Let's go back to Elizabeth and let her finish her part. So if we don't mind going back to that slide.
Yeah, I was in the next, please. So as I was saying, SBA offers loans to businesses, nonprofit organizations, homeowners, and renters. For businesses, SBA offers up to $2 million for physical damage and up to $2 million for economic injury. These loans can be a combination of both because sometimes a business gets some damage or not, and then but their sales drop or the streets are flooded around them, and so they lost income. So these loans are working capital loans for them to keep in business or reopen their business if they had to close for a few days or a few weeks. Homeowners may get up to $500,000 to repair or replace their main residence. And homeowners and also renters may get up to $100,000 to replace their personal property. This can be anything that was inside their home, furniture, clothing, and including their vehicle, their car. If their car was damaged or lost in the disaster, they can get a loan to replace it. Anything that is not covered by an insurance, or if you're underinsured, which is in most cases what happens, the insurance will cover 60-70% but then you have a gap of a few $1,000 or whatever it is to replace your personal property or repair your home, you can get those funds from SBA with a low interest loan. Next. The interest rates right now for homeowners and renters are as low as 2.68%, for businesses as low as 4%, and for nonprofit organizations 3.25%. These loans are for a term up to 30 years, so your payments are low. And most of the applicants get the lowest rates, which are 2.68 for homeowners and renters and 4% for businesses. For nonprofits, it's a fixed rate of 3.25. And the rates are fixed for the period of or the term of your loan. So there is no change on that. There is a deadline to apply for physical damage. We have the same as for FEMA, I believe, August 15. And for economic injury for businesses and nonprofits, it's February 18 of next year. And why is this? Because sometimes businesses have funds to keep going for a few months, but then they realize because of the loss of income that they had during the disaster, they don't have enough working capital. This working capital is to help them reopen or continue their business, and the funds can be used for payroll, to pay their normal expenses, the everyday expenses, their mortgage, whatever they need. Next.
Verify something real quick. Can you clarify that deadline for May? And there's no changes going forward for the deadline, correct?
The deadline to apply is August 15 to apply for physical damage, homeowners, renters, businesses, and nonprofits. Any physical damage to their business or their home or their personal property, the deadline to apply is August 15.
Yes. Yes, so that's my question. It's related for future disasters. Will they have the same deadline, or are they going to have a different deadline?
No, this deadline is for the event that happened from April 26th to June 5th. All those storms, tornadoes that we had in different counties, this is it. This is the event. This is a disaster declaration. For us, there is a number, but it's irrelevant to you. But this is for the event that happened until June 5th. If something, another declaration is made because of what happened yesterday or a few days ago, that will be a different declaration, a different deadline, and everything else. Okay, oh, and one important thing. Thank you. One important thing is that there is a 12-month deferment, no interest accrue, no payments are due for 12 months. So people can just focus on the recovery, rebuilding their home, replacing their property for a whole year. So this is something really good about these loans. And even businesses, they don't have to worry about anything. And as little as your business is, you can apply for a loan. And this slide is about SBA being at all disaster recovery centers that FEMA and the state have. If you find FEMA, SBA will be there. FEMA doesn't refer you to SBA any longer. You can you can register with FEMA and apply for a loan the same day. Another important point is you are not obligated to take a loan. If you are approved, you can think about it. You can change the amount. We work with you. These loans are to help you to recover from the disaster. So our customer service representatives are all disaster recovery centers. They can answer any question, they can explain the process, and also help you fill out the application right there and then. So this is the best way to do it, just go in person. And we also have some business recovery centers. If you're a business owner or a nonprofit organization owner, and we have one business recovery center at the University of Houston downtown, and another one in Harris County that I can give you the information, or you can call our 1-800 number that I'm going to give you in the next slide, and they can give you the address. But even if you're a business owner, you can go to a disaster recovery center. And here are our webpage. Our webpage is sba.gov/disaster. You will find all the information regarding this disaster. You can apply online at lending.sba.gov. You can do the application online on your own. And if you have any issues, you can just keep it. You're going to get a number and then go to a disaster recovery center if you had any issues continuing with your application. You can also call our customer service number, 800-659-2955. And I'm sorry we don't have there the 711 for relay communications. You can also get the information there. And I am here if you have any questions. Thank you.
I do have several questions. My first question is, do you need to have good credit to apply or qualify for an SBA loan?
Well, these are loans. You must have a credit history. You're going to sign a form for SBA to get your taxes and a credit history. You just must show the ability to repay a loan. They are low interest, and we look at the whole picture, not only your credit score, but it is taken into consideration.
Okay, one more question. If an individual already has a loan with SBA because of a previous disaster and applies again because of a new disaster because they need more repairs, are they eligible to apply for a secondary loan, or is this a one-time deal?
No, definitely. This is a separate event, so they are eligible to apply again. If they can repay another loan, SBA will work with them for sure. Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Are there any other questions from the audience?
What about those who still need the loan, but credit is not great, and are they left behind?
Can you repeat the last part?
If their credit is not great, are they left behind?
No, we work with them, and actually, if SBA declines them a loan, they have 6 months to request a reconsideration, and they can fix. Sometimes it is an easy fix, but we look at the whole picture, their income and the repayment ability. So yes, we can work with them.
Okay, another question is, I live in an apartment complex that is ADA compliant. I also have DME, durable medical equipment. Should we have a disaster and my equipment gets damaged and unrepairable, can I apply for a loan to replace my power chair and manual chair?
I am not 100% sure about this question. I can get back to you. If it is I guess it's considered personal property, so I would think so. But I can get back to you. If you can send me an email, for sure, I can answer that question. Or if you prefer to call the 1-800 number or come to one of our disaster recovery centers that FEMA has, we can find out for you.
what if they have loss of property, but they don't have a financial ability to pay the loan? How are those community members supposed to recover? Supported to recover, sorry.
Well, SBA is a loan program from the federal government. So we have, in FEMA also can probably answer that question. We work with nonprofit organizations also. We refer people as FEMA does, and maybe they can answer that question for you.
Okay, well, we'll move on to Julie. You're up next.
Hi, thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so thank you. I did want to add, and speaking to that last question, you can coordinate with Texas Department of Emergency Management, TDM, or you can also contact Texas FOAD, the volunteer organization agency that can help maybe resolve some of those issues that you may be having. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Do you move on? We've already passed this part. To here?
Okay, perfect. Now, after we finish civil rights now in SBA, now the next step, you will receive a letter from FEMA. Hold on a minute. I'm starting to explain a little bit more about the appeal process here. So when you receive that letter, I know sometimes you receive that letter and the first thing you see is that you have a denial. I want to explain a little bit more about that process. First, FEMA will review your application and inspection information. And when you receive that decision letter, which is usually sent through the mail or through the disasterassistance.gov account, the letter will explain FEMA's decision and notify you if they need any additional information that may be required to be able to make a determination if you're eligible. So I know when you see that first sentence and it says you've been denied, just wait, there may be more documentation, more information that they may need from you to be able to review your case map. After you read the letter and you see the denial, you need to go back. Remember, I gave you that kind of like a checklist to be able to prove that you live and that you have ownership of the property. There was some of those things on the list. It may be something very simple that they're asking from you that you maybe could be able to upload that to the disasterassistance.gov portal, or you may be able to go to a disaster recovery center. You may be able to fax that information, but it may be something simple as documentation that's needed. So please don't give up when you receive the letter. It doesn't mean it's a final decision by any means. They just might need more documentation. Also, the next slide will explain a little bit more, please. If you receive that letter and you disagree with FEMA's decision, you do have a right to be able to appeal that decision. For example, you may need to write a letter explaining. For example, with this information, it might be what you need. Put on there your name, your mailing address, the disaster that you were impacted by or the storm, your telephone number, your registration number. It's important to have that registration ID number there. It's a 9-digit number. And remember to include the disaster number. For example, this is DR 4781 Texas. So that's what you would also include. The date when you receive the denial letter. And explain what you disagree with. Normally the letter will kind of have like a list of what you've been denied for. And you can attach more supporting documentation, maybe receipts, contractor estimates, or any of those other things that were listed in the previous slide that you saw. You can go to a disaster recovery center to provide that documentation. You can do it online through fax or mail. And if you still are struggling with that, with the actual appeal process. Remember, we have a Disability Rights of Texas, and they are also available here. Or you can call the FEMA 800 number, 621-3362. And people can help and assist you and explain more of what you need to provide. So either way, the resources are there for you to be able to help guide you through the process. Most importantly, I do want to emphasize that if you disagree with FEMA's decision, you can appeal. But remember, it needs to be done from the time that you receive the letter within 60 days of the date of the decision that was on the denial letter. You can call, like I said, you can go to a disaster recovery center. You can also even reach out to me. I have my contact information that will be on the last slide here. So I can also hook you up and connect you with the right person who can help you. Next slide, please. If anybody would like to take a picture of this slide. And also, if you want me to send you this PowerPoint slides, I can send those to you so you can go back at your leisure and look at those slides to reference any of the information needed. Okay, this is talking about the documentation. All appeals will be reviewed. They will make a decision, usually within 30 days of receiving your appeal letter. Sometimes it can take up to 90 days for them to make a decision. So you kind of have to be patient through that process. They will contact you if they feel like they need more or additional information. They will reach out to you. Next slide, please. Remember, while they're making repairs to your home, they can help you with transitional sheltering assistance if you are eligible. So they can help you get a hotel. They can help you search for temporary rental property, a place to be able to stay. Next slide. I would like to say, please be careful. There are so many people out there that want to take advantage of disaster survivors. Do not accept calls from people that are asking for your personal information, like your social security number, your bank account information. Please do not do that. That's why you have a FEMA registration number, that 9-digit number. You have that number and it's in our system, and they are able to pull up your information. They can help with what information you are asking for. And if you suspect any type of fraud or scam, use that information to reach out, and please report that. Next slide. These are some additional resources that we have available. Again, you can contact me if you need anything, and I can make sure that you get in touch with the right person to be able to answer your question. And now on this slide is my contact information. And feel free to contact me if you need anything. We will help guide you through this recovery process. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions.
Yes, I have several questions from the audience. And also we have one question about the appeal process. If you disagree with the money that you received from FEMA and you believe that you should have received more funds, will an appeal process suspend that receipt of money until they come to a decision, or while they consider a decision?
We have a person from IA. I'm going to turn over or let her answer that question if she's able to do that. Pam?
Good morning. Yes, so the appeal process happens after you receive that initial award. So those funds are yours to spend to help do your repairs. And then if you appeal and it is a successful appeal and you're awarded more funds, that will be in a separate check or EFT. So you do have the ability to start your repairs while you're going through the appeal process.
Okay.
Okay. One question says, the new supports that became available in March. If a family who relies on electricity for a family member to breathe, if they still have no electricity by the date that the disaster is declared, how quickly can they apply and receive a hotel room?
Would you like me to answer that question too?
Thank you,
Okay.
yes.
So not everybody is going to be eligible for a hotel room. That is separate from applying for assistance. You can apply for assistance, and the quickest assistance you're probably going to get is that serious needs assistance after your inspection, or your displacement assistance after your inspection. If you are eligible for one of the hotel rooms through our transitional sheltering program, then you will receive a phone call or text message or email, whatever you prefer to communicate by when you registered, letting you know that you have been referred to that program. Once you receive that, then you can go ahead and start looking for a hotel room that participates in our program.
Okay, next question. What if you have minor damage, limbs fenced down, but are the caregiver of a severely disabled person and can't leave them alone inside to go outside and clean up or repair? Can FEMA pay to hire someone?
So through FEMA's IA program, your home has to be unsafe or unsanitary in order to live there. It really does depend on whether or not that debris is threatening the home, blocking the access way to the home. So the best thing to do is to go ahead and register for FEMA and let us come out and do an inspection. And that inspection will determine whether or not we can help you.
And next, can durable medical equipment be insured either by the user or owner?
Okay, I'm not sure I understood that question. Can you please repeat it?
Yes, it says, can durable medical equipment be insured either by the user or the owner? I'm not sure that this is a FEMA question, but from my understanding, yes, it can be insured. But I think it would depend on where the person received the durable medical equipment from.
Okay, well, we do have one more question and then we will go ahead and close. This is in regards to the average time from the survivor's path of recovery that you had shown in a previous slide. So how long is the average time from the initial onset till they can get back into their home, that application process through the FEMA programs?
So the application process through the Individuals and Households program, which is the FEMA program as we call it, that average is very hard to set. We do have the inspection within 7 to 10 days on average. And the award, if you are eligible, will come within a couple of days after that if you have signed up for electronic funds transfer. If not, then you will receive a check within about 7 days. Then after that, you are strongly encouraged to go to the SBA to see if they can help you. And you are encouraged, if the FEMA funds are not enough to help you, that you can appeal. So there's not really an average on how long it takes someone to go from the beginning to the end, because there are lots of other programs out there.
Additionally, they have to have time to remodel and repair costs, and that also depends on how serious and severe the damage is and how much needs to be remodeled. So, the expectation is that this is going to be some process and it's going to take some time. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you for everyone from FEMA who was able to be here and answer our questions. If you would like to reach out to them and have more questions, their email address is here. Feel free to reach out to them, and their phone number is here, or the phone number that they gave you earlier. Is there anything you would like to add before we close?
I do want to answer that question. The question that's asked previously about the durable medical equipment. We might be able to help resolve that issue. So please reach out to me through email and I may be able to help you with that. And thank you to everybody for coming to this webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have to wrap up. Thank you, everyone.